Hello, welcome to We Only Read the Pictures podcast. My name's Mike.
And I'm Darren.
We're going to go through the films we've watched this week, including Ghost in the Shell, which came out last weekend.
Spoilers, it's bad.
And our topic is going to be about remakes.
Yes, because we both watched a lot of remakes, or a fair amount, and so we thought it'd be interesting to talk about them, especially as there's so many recently. We're also going to introduce a new section to this podcast at the end, where we both recommend a movie that's one of our favourites that we haven't watched recently. We're not going to discuss on the podcast, but we'll recommend it anyway, just as a side. And also you can follow us on Letterboxd, where we log all of our films and all that stuff that we say every week. So let's just start off with what we saw this week.
Yeah.
Ghost in the Shell 2017 reboot. Well, remake rather.
Yeah, live action.
Scarlett Johansson plays the Major. It's cyberpunk. It's everything the original is minus 100% of the substance.
Yeah, that's basically, it doesn't explore in any depth the themes that the original had.
Nope.
I found it kind of boring, to be honest. After watching it after a few days after the original, and I was just feeling there's nothing in here at all. It just feels so empty as a film.
I mean, I agree. It is so empty. The big problem with this remake is that the original is not an action-packed thrill ride. It is a philosophical musing. It's a film which is hard to follow, that's dense deliberately. The remake is not this. The remake's easy to follow, deliberately kind of clear. I wasn't bored by it because I think it was sufficiently entertaining, but I do think it's a very bad film.
I was surprised though that they didn't fully make it an action sci-fi piece.
No, that's true.
It's not as action heavy as I expected. I thought it would be pretty much that would be most of the film, it's basically just using the name, the original, as just to market it, basically just turn it into it. But it didn't have that much. But yeah, that made it even more boring.
I mean, what's really clear about it is that it's not an entire adaptation of the anime. It is got parts of the manga.
There's a lot of story changes as well. Compared to the original.
The original anime, because it's based on. There's a lot of stuff in the manga, so there's like the Laughing Man and a few other things. So it's definitely not based on the Laughing Man. It's a different film, and unlike the original, it has an explicit villain. It doesn't have. It's not like the original, which is just like a code or an organization. This is one guy who's a bad guy. It's not, whereas the original is all about the Major coming to terms with who she is and going and evolving beyond that. The remake is instead about the Major finding out her past. Where does her brain come from? Why was she built? The problem with that is that fundamentally the original is saying we have this story, and the question we're going to ask is, what does it mean to be alive, and what does it mean to be human, and can you go beyond being human? This remake's going, right, same premise. Instead of asking those questions, we'll go, what's it like to forget who you are? I'm going, I don't need another movie about amnesia or whatever. I was just thinking, I can watch Memento. I can those movies. It's just one of those movies that someone has to find out about their past. It's like The Bourne Identity, or like the original Ghost in the Shell. Really is in the class of its own. It's very unique. The 1995 movie, you sat there going, I guess kind of has the Akira little bit style. Guess The Matrix kind of copied it later on. Blade Runner's that same type of movie. But really, it's very unique. This is literally not unique at all. This is the most generic.
It's quite simplistic as well.
I mean, by the time of Cyberpunk, it doesn't even reach the heights of low bars like Chappie or The Matrix Reloaded. So, I mean,
I actually found it weird watching a adaptation of the story in English language as well. I found that was a weird transition because. And it's more especially with Major, played by Scarlett, and she's makes Major really monotone voice, and that felt a little bit jarring compared to when she's in Japanese, where I can't tell if she's in a monotone voice or not. Yeah, that felt weird.
Yeah, I mean,
I can get why you'd have a monotone voice if you're a side or whatever it is. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things that are just different about the major. One thing that's really interesting about the original is the original has this weird sexual aspect to it, which I think people don't talk about enough. I think one of the things about the original is the original has, first of all, an abundance of nudity. And I think that's kind of like a postmodern feminism, because there's nobody in that world judges the major in that world for being as naked as she is so much. Secondly, there's lines, there's references to periods in the original. There's all sorts of other little details. There's the whole, in a way, the crux of the film is about birth. The puppet master wants to be able to give birth, but he can't, and he feels like he's an inadequate life form. Perhaps that's that Freudian thing. Maybe it's that thing with men. Like maybe men feel inadequate because they can't give life. Like there's all this in the original. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with sex or nudity in the original. Nothing. Not once is it mentioned, and that's all gone. You want to talk about identity? The sum total of the remake is. She finds out who her past are, what her past is. That's it.
What happened to her before she became a...
Yeah. Also, it reaches the reverse conclusion, because the original conclusion is people's souls can be rewritten via code and stuff. Really, the soul don't really exist. This remake's like, people can tell who Scarlett Johansson's brains belong to because they go, you have the same look in your eyes. I'm like, no. So what they're saying is something beyond the physical form actually exists. It's kind of messy. The film it reminded me of a lot is actually Zack Snyder's Watchmen, because it's that thing of taking something that's full of ideas, like how Zack Snyder took Watchmen and only saw the surface and just put the visuals on the screen and missed all of the subtext. This is the same thing. Rupert Sanders or the writers saw Ghost in the Shell, saw the anime, saw the manga, and they've taken it and they've just lost all of the subtext. And, I mean, it's fine. It's okay, I reckon, as an action movie, but I think there's not enough action to make it good for an action fan.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel some going in there for an action film will be really disappointed. Yeah. Because I think it's just a slog to get through in order to get to anything.
I mean, I thought it was just despicable. I really wanted to walk out at some point.
I wanted to fall asleep.
I've never walked out of a film, but there was a point where I was like, this is so patronising in how dumbed down a version of the story it is. I want to just walk out. I stayed, but I really kind of wish I had, because it wasn't worth it. So overall, not worth seeing. The original exists.
Yeah.
$2.50 on YouTube if you care to buy it. It's much better than this. And also it's 20 minutes shorter.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So you're not going to be as bored if you do find the story boring. So yeah, that's good in the show. Another thing out right now, which I saw, it's out on Netflix in the UK, it's had a small cinematic release in the US, is The Discovery. Charlie McDowell's new movie. Yeah. You've heard about this, I guess? Yeah, so basic premise is a scientist discovers irrefutable evidence that the afterlife exists. And then everybody on Earth goes kind of mental about it, and there's a bunch of people who kill themselves, because if you die, you know for certain you're going to go to somewhere else. So everyone's like, well, what am I doing here? And then the basic premise is it's that new type of science fiction, which is like where it's got a big sci-fi concept, but it's actually all about like tiny characters doing stuff. And it's basically Jason Segel and Rooney Mara, two people who are living in this world, and they sort of fall in love, and obviously the fact that an afterlife exists is inextricably connected to their story, but really it's all about that. I can't really recommend it. It was kind of boring. It's cliched. It's not really interesting. It's one of those films I'm going to forget I ever saw. It takes an interesting concept and then just squanders it, because it's like every single indie movie cliche. It's like, it's about the afterlife, but actually it's all about rediscovering family and rediscovering love. And I'm like, please save me. Even Rooney Mara, who is a goddess amongst men, cannot save this film, and she's in it, and I'm like, you're too good for this.
It definitely seems an interesting concept what you can do with that.
God no! Like literally, like it opens with the scientist being interviewed, and the journalist is like, "Oh, so you discovered the afterlife?" And it's like, "Yes." And you sat there going, "Oh, this is interesting." And then he goes, "And are you gonna?" People are killing themselves because they know this, and he's like, yeah, I know. And you go, no, this is interesting. And then next scene, it's just like And here's Rooney Mara and Jason Segel falling in love. And I'm like,
does it give like specific details of what this afterlife is? Or
well, the plot is no one really knows what it is, and kind of it is that they kind of want to find out what it is before they go. So they try and investigate. But really, but it's really a love story. Like it's just cheesy and like it's not terrible. Like there's much worse, and because the concept's so original, you kind of go along with it. You kind of find it interesting, but like the plot is the most unengaging thing.
So is that something you would like to see remade?
No. This is the exact sort of film that should be remade because. This is a film which has such clear potential, and they just squander it straight away.
They executed it poorly, and it needs a slight reworking.
I mean, step one is you don't make it a love story. Or if you do make it a love story, you make it a love story that's engaging. Because the problem with the film is you're expected to care about this love story, and it's just like so forced, and there's not much chemistry. It's kind of... And then at first you're just like, oh, it's only like half the movie is a love story, half the movie is about afterlife. And then in the final 20 minutes, you reach this point, and the conclusion requires you to really care about the love story. And I'm like, yeah, my engagement is 0 with that. You know, like, I was just watching that going, I wish I was kissing Rooney Mara and not watching this shit. Like, the only reason I was interested was, I only watched it because she was in it, and it was not good. I'm disappointed. And she wasn't even great in it, which is the worst thing. Like, she was only good. Which is, what a waste. Yeah. I'm really, that's the film I'm the most annoyed at this week.
Okay. Should we move on to Fantastic Four? So another film starring the other Mara sister.
This is the 2015 remake.
Yes, yeah.
We both saw this.
We laughed
all the way through.
It's utter shit, basically. You just question, like, how can something like this be made? And with the money that comes into it, how could they have made such a mess of it? And... there's just so many areas it fails. There's no chemistry between the leads. Story is complete. Really poorly structured.
Visuals,
visuals, but it doesn't really go anywhere. It feels like a massive first act where it's trying to set up the characters and get some more powers, and then it kind of has a little bit where they feel like, oh, we need to wrap this up. Let's have a finale.
I mean, 1 hour in, the movie literally has on the screen 1 year later, and then it cuts.
Yeah,
and it's it's not even. It's the most jarring cut because when you watch the film, because I heard that this happened in the movie before I saw it, but I assumed they sort of reached an end of a storyline.
Yeah.
1 year later, new story. No. It's literally midway through a scene. Yeah. There's a scene, and it just cuts and goes 1 year later. It's
it was such a weird.
The thing it reminded me of to describe its quality is The Room. Not because it's as bad as The Room. It's much better than The Room because that is a very low bar. But it has that thing which is not one aspect of this movie is good.
Yeah.
Every single aspect is bad. Writing, directing, staging, visual effects, acting, characters. Everything. Not one thing is good. It's very rarely is it garbage. It's usually okay or just mediocre or just bad. But everything. There's not one thing that's good about it.
Yeah.
So it just sums up to you watching something that's just bad in every way. It's not. It's nah.
I think I also just get the sense from the lead actors that they really didn't care. Or knew this was just gonna be utter shit.
Yeah. I mean, even the hair, even the wigs are bad because Kate Mara wears such an obvious wig in certain scenes, and Miles Teller has some
facial hair.
Yeah, like how they messed up hairstyle, like even hairstyling is wrong on this film.
Yeah.
Like even shit like Ghost in the Shell, I didn't have an obvious problem with how the hair was done. But this even failed at that. Like this makes Ghost in the Shell look like a great movie. And so
that's a weird thought.
But seriously though, it does, right? I mean, what would you rather watch right now?
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell.
No question.
It's because it's just excruciating to get get through.
Of all the movies I've watched last week, this is the one I'm almost certainly never going to watch again.
No, definitely.
Like it's truly just trash. You know, it's not. I don't think it's really. It's not total garbage. It is not the level of the real worst film that I made.
Yeah.
But like it's not good at all.
There's nothing redeeming about it.
Nothing redeeming. It's just an awkward middle. You know, like sometimes we have movies where we go, well, there's nothing really bad about, nothing really good about them. No, this is a case of there's nothing really there's nothing okay about them, and there's nothing too bad. Everything's in that middle. Everything's like in that middle bit. It's between being garbage and being acceptable.
Yeah, it's consistently
not even good. Acceptable.
Yeah, it's consistently shit, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But at least it isn't shit in every way. It's just generally pretty bad.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you watch this week?
So yeah, I saw The Pianist. First time I saw it, and it's won quite a few Oscars back when it was around.
What did you win? Best director, best actor.
Yeah, and I think did it win the Palme d'Or? Or something?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it won. And it's about Polish Jew who's a well-known pianist in World War II, and it's sort of how his life has changed during Nazi-occupied Poland. And I thought it's incredibly sad. What thing that struck me is the world it builds. Just it doesn't feel real. It feels so just unreal in terms of how how Jews are just killed for fun, and the brutality of the Nazis, and they feel so inhuman all the time. But sort of the other side of mine is that this is real. This was a true part of history, and that kind of makes it feel even more sickening.
Yeah,
and it's just. Yeah, it is incredibly sad. It's a really sort of extraordinary tale of survival, and you get a sense of how dangerous living is, and like how just being caught. You feel like you're always on the edge. You see that this person could be caught, and it's just all over. And you just and I actually weirdly I didn't actually realise it was a true story till the end.
Really?
Yeah, no. I came thinking I didn't realise it. I didn't know. I wasn't coming to it. I didn't know. I had that knowledge, and then it was only at the end where it went through the things. I was like, oh shit, and that made me feel wow, because I did not expect that to be.
I mean,
it feels such a miraculous story that you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the other thing, of course, is that the one thing that always strikes me about The Pianist, which I do really like, although I do have some reservations. The thing that strikes me about it is that it's clearly a personal film. Which I mean, how much do you know what happened to Roman Polanski during the Holocaust?
Sorry,
so director Roman Polanski, because he was born in 1938 and he was a Jew, and he saw his parents get shipped off, I think, to a concentration camp, and I think that scene where you see people being shipped off, and he escapes, the boy, Roman Polanski actually was in that scenario as a boy. He escaped the train.
Oh wow!
Or he was in a scenario where he almost got shipped off, and then he was protected by a bunch of Christian families. He was kept hidden for the entirety of World War II. He slept in barns and stuff. So I think the thing that strikes me always about The Pianist is it's a very real. It's a film that comes from a personal place.
Yeah,
and I think you can really feel that. I do think. I mean, I have a general problem with Holocaust movies in general. I do think most of them get it wrong. I think Schindler's List, an example of a movie which I just don't think it approaches it from the wrong way. I think The Pianist does it better because it feels personal. But no question, it's better than Schindler's List. But I mean, how many do you think that? What did you think of Adrian Brody in The Pianist? Because he received a lot of buzz at the time, but his career's just sort of gone since then.
Well, apart from Brody Quest.
Apart from Brody Quest, the best thing ever.
Yeah, I think it had a really strong performance. Especially when later on in the film where he gets kind of what illness he was and how he looked, how his face, and he gets destroyed.
Surprised he won the Oscar though, but it is a good performance.
Yeah, he's also the youngest winner for Best Actor.
Yeah, I know.
It's normally it was only 29, and that's really because obviously they normally go to when you're 30s.
Yeah. Generally, the Oscars tend to award people who've been nominated a few times as well. Yeah, it's definitely a weird one. But my whole thing with Holocaust movies, I need to rewatch this because I saw this before I saw Shower, and Shower I kind of maybe have an epiphany, and the epiphany was, as long as Shower exists, no Holocaust movie needs to ever be made. Because Shower is the most definitive in every way. Shower covers every part of the Holocaust in excruciating detail. You never need to see another movie about the Holocaust as long as that movie exists. It is the most noble-minded documentary ever made. And ever since then, the only Holocaust movie that I've liked has been Son of Saul.
Right.
But I need to watch The Pianist to see whether or not it would meet. I would like it as much, given that I'm now seeing Shower, and I think now I've seen what I need to see about the Holocaust on screen. But yeah, it is a good movie. I will grant you.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week I mentioned that I was moving on to Abbas Kiarostami, the film director.
Mm-hmm.
So Taste of Cherry last week. This week I watched The Wind Will Carry Us.
Mm-hmm.
Basic premise. A bunch of people arrive in a village in Kurdistan. The people there kind of assume that they're either archaeologists or engineers. Mm-hmm. We don't really find out what they're actually doing there. They just sort of chill around. Mm-hmm. They drink milk. They chat to people. They drive up a hill to get phone signal. Mm-hmm. They I'm telling the entire plot. That's literally all that happens. But what it is it's a film about how the modern... Because these people are from civilization, let's say. Mm-hmm. Civilization in inverted commas here. So they turn up with mobile phone technology to this village in Kurdistan which is very traditional. Mm-hmm. It's all to do with tradition and rituals and all. They're not connected with the modern world. Mm-hmm. And it's about that intrusion and about how that they meet and how people react to that
and how they clash.
Yeah, but in the same way it's not about that clash because they get on really well. It's about showing kind of both of those things at the same time and just sort of melding them. Mm-hmm. How you can have the modern and the traditional and it still work as a society. It's not it doesn't pit them against each other. It doesn't say one's better than the other. It just sort of has them. And the other thing that it has is it's very much about there's a lot of the title of the movie comes from a poem. There are a lot of lines about life and death. Mm-hmm. It's all kind of thematic and not really plot based because there is essentially no plot. Mm-hmm. There's one little twist and that's essentially the whole plot you get in the entire film. Mm-hmm. I didn't love it. I mean, it was definitely a little bit dry for me. I thought it was a bit too long, a little bit boring in parts.
How long was it roughly?
1 hour 50, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, to say the plot is just a dude walking around a village for,
Yeah, that's quite...
It's not much. But, unlike Taste of Cherry, which had even less plot, I actually found that more engaging. I don't think this is a masterpiece, but I would recommend it, because it definitely will make you think. Mm-hmm. It's definitely interesting, and it's definitely probably up there, the top end of Iranian cinema, I guess. Mm-hmm. So there we go, that's what I watched.
So you say the last one was better? Right?
Yeah, but only just. I think Taste of Cherry was a little bit more substantial, but I don't know.
Uh-huh. So yesterday I watched 10 Things I Hate About You, which stars Heath Ledger, as well, partly because it was his birthday a couple of days ago, and and I've always seen bits and pieces of it, but never really got to see the whole thing from start to finish. It's a really good sort of high school drama, and I like seeing how all the characters are very manipulative and all have their own motivations and all trying to have ulterior motives every there and trying to get people to try to use all the other characters as pawns and to get what they want. And it's kind of weird just to see the young Heath Ledger, Julia Stiles, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Joseph Gordon-Levitt especially, he just looks like a baby. He looks so young and fresh. But
I mean, I can imagine
I'd say I thought I would enjoy it more, and I feel the issue is that there are certain scenes that I really, really liked and have watched so many times on YouTube, but as a whole film, I didn't quite enjoy it much. Watching the hour and a half version, and I suppose maybe an issue I found with it is all the characters are quite sort of rooted in various stereotypes. They all quite kind of follow a certain archetype. So you have the pretty innocent girl who acts, a bit bratish and a bit bitchy. You have the cocky rich kid who, gets all the girls. You get the girl who's a bit of a psycho and massively opinionated and doesn't follow what society tells us. And you have the mysterious guy with a bad boy image. And you have the nice guy who gets easily manipulated. And there's not much. There's beyond that.
But I mean, to some extent, what about the argument that could be made, which is, okay, so they're archetypes.
Yeah.
But considering the film's based on a Shakespeare play, and Shakespeare himself invented a lot of archetypes.
Yeah, that's true.
How
can't
far?
Really get around the right. Yeah. I can understand that point, but Yeah, I mean that's just a little observation that I had. But other than that, I still really enjoy it. There's a lot of really good fun scenes and sections.
I do think a good high school movie like really can't be beaten. If you want just like a really a good high school movie that just makes you feel awkward, or just make you feel like they can really get you emotions. I think. I feel like it's a genre which sort of everyone ignores, but the really good ones are really good.
Yeah,
they really are like the peak of drama for teenagers. So. Yeah, and it's better than something I watched, but probably not as enjoyable. I watched The Room.
Masterpiece. Really,
Tommy Wiseau's classic movie. So bad it's good in every way. We mentioned Fantastic Four earlier. This is even worse in every respect. I watched it for the 9th time. I was entirely drunk as fuck when I watched this. Not to worry, I've seen it enough times. Although I found out today that I've seen over half the times I've seen it, I've not been sober. I've definitely had stuff in my body which is not good for me. So I definitely do not watch The Room. I have seen it sober, just to clarify. But yeah, I love this movie. It's terrible. It's beyond bad. The writing, directing, staging, acting, characters, everything. Everything. There's a couple of things that are occasionally okay. Sometimes the editing's okay, like a few scenes are well edited. There's a couple of lighting. Sometimes the lighting's generally alright. Nothing else.
This is really scraping the barrel.
They're like 4 out of 10. Everything else 1 out of 10. Trash. So enjoyable. Recommended. And I will say this: I don't believe you can have an opinion on film until you've seen a film as bad as The Room, or like that level or worse. Because if you haven't seen something at that level, you don't have a bottom. You don't have like a lower bound. Like literally, there's so few films worse than The Room that if you don't watch something at that, like once you reach that level, you will not see anything worse, or maybe on a similar level. It is a real lower bound to have.
Yeah,
I do think it's really good for everybody to have that.
I mean, there's always something about the bad movie. You learn so much about what makes a movie good and / bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I feel like I wouldn't appreciate the movies I love so much if I didn't see something like The Room. But then on the other hand, it does make me like I've seen The Room so many times that I'm starting to find things I like about it, which is why I now realise that editing and the lighting are okay. Because I used to think it was all rubbish, but I've now come to the conclusion: the editing's fine. The editing's alright,
Well, that's like with Birdemic, like how the makeup looks alright, It's all like all the blood, everything.
Does it? I remember the makeup looking meh.
I can't remember what it was. There was something like that.
There's probably something alright.
That was the only thing.
I was Birdemic's one of those one of the 10 films I think which is actually worse than The Room. So the Birdemic's down there. Birdemic's even more excrement.
I think Room is always hilarious to watch.
Yeah. I mean, so
did you say one of the guys you watched was a Room virgin?
Yeah, he had never seen The Room before.
Yeah. How did he react?
Thought it was trash. Yeah. Although unfortunately I cannot remember his response at the end of the movie because I wasn't in a fit state of mind.
Because you get sort of first time reactions to Room. So personally, when I first watched Room, I was like, that's kind of boring, and I always found it weird how everyone around me was like really laughing and enjoying it, and I was just like, just don't want to watch this. Like, I just didn't get the joke of it.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, I've been rewatching sort of clips of it every now and again. I was like, this is actually really fun.
Yeah, like I'm now at a point where I just know that film inside out. And, oh my god, it always makes me laugh. It always, and I always find something that's bad about it that I didn't realise was bad before. Like I recently realised how Lisa's job makes no sense. Like I never really.
She has a job. What was her job?
Right, exactly.
I don't remember this.
First of all, she never seems to have any sort of employment at all. Yeah. There's a couple of things about like computers or something. There's like a financial thing she mentions. Like it's definitely sort of mentioned in a couple of lines that she has like a job or something. But then she can't financially support herself. So I don't know. It's
it's just the lifestyle she wants, maybe.
Yeah, I've also come to the conclusion. It also this is perhaps pretty bad. but it was only about third or fourth viewing in that I realised just how sexist it is as well, which never really hit me instantly. That might have also been because I was like younger when I first saw it. But it is also... Really,
I mean, it feels very much written from a man's point of view.
I mean,
in terms of how...
It feels like it's written by somebody who's bitter, who hates... like, you know how people call films misogynist?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, and that's not... I don't believe, the filmmakers hate women, but I genuinely think Tony Wiseau might have a grudge against women. Like, I genuinely think it's quite possible that he does. Because The Room is definitely written from the perspective of somebody who has a really bad relationship with the women in their life. So, that's what I'm going to say about that.
But he'll do anything for his future wife.
They never say fiancé, always future wife.
He'll do anything for his... I'll do anything for my girl.
Yeah. It's always fun. It's always bad as well. So, you get what you're expecting every time. Except I always forget how much I'm going to laugh at it. Right, what did you watch?
I saw Mamma Mia.
No, that's also bad.
No, it's not.
But in a really fun way.
It's not bad. I love Mamma Mia.
No. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right, but don't tell me it's a good movie. Don't go that far.
I think it's a good movie.
Really?
I always... No, I don't know, maybe I'm just saying it's good because I enjoy it so much. And that kind of blinds me from thinking about it critically.
No, I mean...
I love how all the songs are integrated and well, the thing I really like about Mummy, it makes me think of sort of holiday and when it makes, because I mean none of them you don't see any of the characters actually apart from Meryl Streep's character Donna. But the sense, especially when they're all sort of celebrating, I always have that sort of relaxed feeling, just remembering when you're not doing any work or when you're abroad and enjoying yourself. That's the sort of thing that I guess. It's a feel good to me.
I mean, okay. Would I rate it less than 5 out of 10? No. I would definitely say it's in the top half on the scale of 1 to 10. But here's the thing. It is so tacky. It's so badly done that it's enjoyable in spite of itself, or because of that. Like, I do believe it's a good movie because it's enjoyable, because it knows it's enjoyable. But let's be clear, it is, like, half the people can't sing. Pierce Brosnan, notably, just really can't sing. Like, the songs are just tackily thrown in. It's all cheesy and predictable and schmaltzy, and the jokes kind of don't all work, and it's all kind of a mess. But you know what? It's an enjoyable mess. It's the Power Rangers movie last week thing. It's like, it's that. It's really bad.
I'd never call it messy though.
Really?
No,
It's not that tightly constructed. It's pretty all over the place.
Well, that's a fairly simple plot. Girl wants to find her father, and she's about to get married. And
you have like all this other crap. Like Julie Walters and the other old woman just doing shit, and like you have like three different husbands or whatever boyfriends, ex-boyfriends who are all just kind of all over the place. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not. It's fine. I enjoy the movie, but let's not argue. Let's not say it's well made. I think it aims low and it hits it spot on, and for that it's a good film because it nails it.
Colin Firth is gay in it. No, it's just weird. Yeah.
I always notice, like, every time I talk about Colin Firth and Pierce Brosnan, no one mentions Stellan Skarsgård, who's probably the most talented actor of the three, but probably
the least famous of the three.
Also but undeservedly. Like he's definitely better than Pierce fucking Brosnan, who's.
Yeah, his singing is pretty poor. But I don't know, I kind of find it hilariously poor though. It's just. Yeah, I
think it because it's deliberately trying to be what it is.
Yeah.
I think I think it is a good movie. Yeah. Ultimately, when pushed towards, it's good. But I do think it's very sloppy. It's very tacky. It's very messy.
I don't know. I just like how very musical, like how even all the villagers all interact and like just sing and just into the sea.
I don't think the musical numbers are that great.
I enjoy the music so much.
No. I enjoy the music. I don't think the way they're filmed is that great. I feel like it's not the most imaginative musical. It's not the set pieces are all kind of generic and not well. Like they're not great. I certainly enjoy the music because it's ABBA, and ABBA. Yeah, I don't love ABBA, but ABBA's fine. I can listen to ABBA all day. I guess it doesn't upset me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm fine, man. Yeah. If it's on, I'll watch it.
Anyway, should we move on to
let's go look at remakes then. Okay.
Remakes.
General question: remakes, good or bad?
Well, I think it's a trick question because there are good remakes and there are bad remakes.
Agreed. I would totally second that. I think it depends. I have seen. So we just went through it before we recorded this podcast. I've seen 17 films where I've seen both the original and the remake. Of those 17, there's one of them which I think is definitely a better film in the remake. There is 3 of them which I think are about the same quality as the original. The other 13 are all worse. So I think remakes generally are worse than the original in most cases. So I guess on the basis of that, we would have to say they're not good.
Yes, I think it is a lot of parameters that come into it. First of all, it depends on what you are remaking. If it is a classic or a great original piece of original sort of screenplay film, which you don't want any other artists to interpret.
Yes.
Don't touch it. Something like Psycho, don't touch it, which they
exactly. Don't touch The Wicker Man. Don't touch.
Or Suspiria, which is that remake's coming out, isn't it?
Yeah, Suspiria. Yeah. Why the hell are they making that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you just don't. Yeah, I just don't see what they can add to or interpretation. But there are some other.
John's really bad about the Suspiria. I read a thing about the Suspiria remake. They're not going to use that neon lighting thing.
Oh no!
I'm like, what? Why?
That's amazing.
At that point, I'm like, you're not even doing Suspiria. That's like half of what's good about that film. Okay, but anyway, I digress.
And there's other sort of cases of the different types of remakes. So, again, you can have things which. I prefer, if you're going to do a remake, I feel it should be a fairly different reimagining of the material. It should try and something like the Planet of the Apes remakes. Because it's.
Well, hang on, no. See, okay, okay.
I said sorry.
No. See, okay, right. I think okay. I know what you're going to say. So what you're saying is, they should change stuff. They shouldn't just do it the same thing again.
Yeah, or just try and tell a story from different points of view,
First of all, okay, I think Pianist is a really good example of this because it shows how to both do it right and do it wrong.
Okay.
Because Tim Burton's does it wrong in every single possible way. Tim Burton's remake misses everything that's good about the original. But then Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which are debatably remakes of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes and Battle for the Planet of the Apes, nail it. They are both better than their originals. If you call them remakes, I don't, but they're arguable.
Whatever.
That you're right. That is proof. That's how you do it. You make it a very different kind of thing. But the problem is there's a line where you diverge too far. What you have to be legitimately different without just being different for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Tim Burton's is different for the sake of it. The new ones don't feel like that. They feel different for good reason. So different in fact that I wouldn't even call them a remake.
Yeah.
Whereas, Tim Burton.
I suppose reimagining or it's when you have a different director's vision on the whole on the source material.
Yeah. I do notice that they now call them reimagining. It's like, all right, Tim Burton didn't. Tim Burton said, "Oh, I didn't remake Planet of the Apes. I reimagined it." Dude, you remade it. Like, get over yourself. Or like someone else said that as well. Like they reimagined it. No, Spike Lee. I didn't remake Old Boy. I reimagined Old Boy. No, you remade it. Get lost.
Because I feel if you don't do that, then you fall into the trap of you're not really bringing anything new, or creating anything new, and you fall into sort of cases like Beauty and the Beast, which is really pretty much the same as the animated with fairly minor sort of reason. Well, some fairly differences, but pretty much even from to the level of the costumes, etc. It's
the same.
And I just feel you're just going to fall into the trap of I will be comparing section by section, scene for scene.
I mean, the ultimate example of this is Psycho, right? Gus Van Sant's Psycho just is the proof, right? Because Gus Van Sant's Psycho is like literally a remake on where every single shot is the same. The only thing that's different is the actors. and the sets.
And it's in colour.
Right?
And inflation.
But like, and I think that proves really that there's more to a film than just copying. Like you can have the right script, the right shots, everything. You can still mess it up. You know, like it's about someone with soul bringing their touch to it, or or a bunch of people with artistic minds bringing something to it. And I agree with you. You know, you can't go too far in copying them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, remakes are ubiquitous in film. Anyway.
We've got so many. We've had so many recently, and we're getting even more.
Yeah, I mean, right now we have Hollywood has a lot of big ones. There are a lot of big blockbusters that have just been remade.
Yeah, we've had the Magnificent Seven remake. We've had
Ghost in the Shell.
And also Disney are doing all the live action remakes at the moment.
Yeah. But I mean, what I was going to say is like remakes have been around for a very long time. I mean, remakes have been around since like the 1910s, 1920s. They've always been here. Wizard of Oz is there's version of Wizard of Oz before the famous one. These things have existed for a very long time, and they're not going to go away. And remakes are not inherently bad, because obviously even most films still get us off to from somewhere. Whether it be from a book or a comic or television. Yeah. And they're all in a way a remake. So we
adaptation to something. Yeah.
Yeah, a remake is just an adaptation of a film. And I think the key thing with a remake is that you have to take something which has potential, and whether or not, and even if you have to take something which has a good concept fundamentally. Now, if the previous film might have nailed the concept, but you might be able to put another twist on it, or the previous film fucked up. It had a great idea and it went nowhere with it. In which case, you can then take that and run with it and make it right, and that's how you do it. I do think that I actually think the best kind of remakes straddle that line between what you were saying of the same thing and difference. I think my very favourite remakes are very similar in an overall sense, but very different in a plot sense. So the only remake that I said was better was, by the way, The Departed. Martin Scorsese's The Departed. Yeah. Which was based on I can't remember his name, but the Hong Kong director who made Infernal Affairs. And the plot is the premise is the exact same thing. There's the police, there's the gangsters. The police have a mole in the gangsters have a mole in the police force, and they have to try and rat each other out. That's it, right? But beyond that premise, and beyond the fact that the plot is 80% the same thing, it's very, very different. Scorsese's version is like an hour longer, has a lot more swearing. It's set in Boston, USA, instead of Hong Kong. It's a different kind of vibe. But it's really different because the setting and the actors and the characters are all different, but it's the same sort of plot. Yeah. And that's ideal, because what you've done is you're not just copying it, but at the same time you're not trashing the potential. You're taking what was good about the thing that's good about the original was the plotting. The original kind of fell down because it wasn't as exciting as it wanted to be, and it was never really made as much, and it wasn't really that coherent. Remake, more coherent, same plot. The plot was strength. The plot was a good thing. And it just improved the characters and improved the setting. That's how you do it. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to think of... I suppose one thing is... So what... Are there any properties or films at the moment that you would like to see be remakes for? See, because there's a couple I've thought of.
I mean, straight away I don't think of any, because... I don't consider films to be... Generally, I don't want a remake. If a film exists, I don't want to see the same thing again. But something like... We mentioned The Discovery earlier. Something like that. With a good concept that goes nowhere. That'd be a good idea. But what films have you thought of?
Well, this is an interesting... It's more ideas. Daredevil, which I actually haven't seen, but I've heard it's not done so well.
That's really needs a remake, yeah.
Remade, but directed by Martin Scorsese. Because...
New York,
crime, gangsters, and Catholic.
There's
a lot of...
A Scorsese director, and Scorsese is the best, by the way, best for remakes, because the other... One of my second or third remake, one of the ones I said was equal, is Cape Fear, which matches the original. Yeah. So Scorsese, I think, Scorsese knows how to do a remake, and that'd be a good shout.
Yeah, no, it's just something interesting him doing a superhero film. Yeah. If he was to do one, I think that would be in terms of source material would
Daredevil was a really good one in need of a remake. I'll tell you what actually is in need of a remake, is, because I haven't seen this but I heard it's terrible, is Catwoman. As a character, she has a lot of potential.
I mean, they sort of put her in supporting roles in in the Dark Knight Rises, I guess. But
give her a movie, why not?
I suppose that will happen soon in the DC cinematic
at some point.
Yeah.
When they're doing
Batgirl, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're going to put. I think Catwoman will be part of Gotham City Sirens with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. So I do think that they already have that going. But I think Catwoman would be a good film to remake. What else did you think of?
I mean, this is more of a personal one, but Assassin's Creed, mainly because I still feel there's potential in there in terms of its themes and what it can accomplish as a sort of a smart sci-fi-ish film. But I hated the one that came out recently. Okay, that's more of a personal one. What else did I think of? I can't remember now what it was.
I mean, there's definitely properties which could really.
I think there's a few films that didn't work out very well or weren't executed, but as you said, have potential and you want to try and give them another go.
I mean that's kind of what I think is needed. I feel like if you're going to remake a film, you remake the film. I mean, when should you remake? I mean, should you remake a bad movie or a good movie? I think. I mean, they only ever remake good movies. I mean, look at this. There's 21 films which I've seen where I only saw the original. I haven't seen the remake. Of those 21, 15 of them I rated 8 out of 10 or higher, and 6 of them, and not one of them, I rated lower than a 5. Lower than a 6 even. All the films I've seen that have been remade are all good movies. Hollywood only remakes good stuff. Which I think is kind of the problem, because there's definitely films with potential that fall down, that you could do.
But it's also the intention of remaking the good ones, because it tends to come out of basically exploiting the name or the brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Ghost in the Shell is a perfect example of that. They're exploiting the fan base, etc., and to try and make a new live action. And that's another question I was going to ask is when you always have the types of remakes which go from where the original was animated and then goes into a live action, because we've had quite a few of those. Especially with Disney.
I don't like them as a remake of an animation. It's fine to tell the same story in live action. I don't agree with you remaking them, because I think that they are such a different medium. I think people underestimate what animation is. It's a very different work to a film, and so I think it's surprising just how much they put into it. I don't really see. The problem with Beauty and the Beast was that one of the good things about the Beauty and the Beast remake actually was that it was distinctly live action. The musical numbers were done in ways that were clearly to do with people moving, as opposed to the animated one, which is a lot more flamboyant and kind of surreal. It's definitely a more grounded version of this. But I don't know, they're different. Animation, everything is done.
So I think that's quite a hard transition to make, because I really liked how they worked with Beauty and the Beast, some of the songs, especially Be Our Guest, were very flamboyant, colourful, and all that kind of stuff. And I was really disappointed with the live action version. It just didn't feel nowhere near as good. And that's just the limits of what live action can do against
It's a different art form. If you're making a live action Beauty and the Beast, make a live action Beauty and the Beast. Don't do a live action version of an animation. They're different things. Now the other one, of course, is that they're currently remaking a whole bunch of documentaries. I mean, you had The Walk, which was based on, I think the film was called The Walk as well. You had Snowden, which is based on Citizen 4. There's a few others recently. So we now have films based on documentaries becoming
thing.
Which is kind of, once again, what's the point with that? If the documentary is good, you don't need the animation. You don't need the dramatization. So it's puzzling. I do think that Hollywood is definitely on some level losing originality, because we aren't discussing this, but there is also just tons of reboots. Everything gets rebooted every now and again. We're discussing direct remakes here, but there's just a ton of reboots. I mean, look at Kong Skull Island. That's just rebooting that franchise. Even though And that's not even enough. That King Kong itself has 2 remakes. There's 33, 76, and 2005.
Spider-Man's also something that's been rebooted a lot. We've had 3 Spider-Mans within the last
15
within this century. Within the last
15 years. Well, if you want to go all 7, even 10 years, we had 3. If you go 2007 to 2016, you had 3 different actors. It's
in 3 different universes.
Yeah. Like, I definitely think we're at the point where there's just too much of that sort of thing.
And it's all that's getting made. I mean, Disney are just firing out all these live action remakes. We're going to get Mulan at some point.
Tim Burton's acting Dumbo.
Oh, is he?
Yep, I look forward to Tim Burton ruining yet another piece of popular culture.
Yeah.
God, I hate it when he does that. And then, I think they're making Aladdin as well.
Yeah. Is it Guy Ritchie directing it? I heard rumours about that.
Sure, why not?
I heard a rumour about that.
Sure, why the hell not?
Yeah. I mean, they do just make a lot of money. They are very profitable, that's the...
Because Disney have realised that if you remake stuff from the 90s, the kids who saw it in the 90s are now in their 20s, which is the peak cinema audience. Yeah, I mean, it's... Or 20s and 30s, which is now... It's kind of sickening in a way. Because I'm sat there going, oh, come on, people. Are you really so blinded? Are you really so blinded that you go, oh, something I saw when I was 7, I'll pay money to see again?
I mean, sometimes they try. I mean, things like Cinderella was, that was not one of the 90s things. And... Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. And Sleeping Beauty actually did quite change. Well, they changed it to make it from Maleficent's point of view.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There is a... So Maleficent I can get on board with. I can't get on board with the others. I just wish audiences cared less for nostalgia. Because, as someone who basically nostalgia does not really affect... I'm not somebody who goes... Oh, I saw this once in the past, therefore that make me care for some reason. No, I don't have that. I'm not a nostalgic guy, and I'm just a cinema audience is really so fickle. Is nostalgia really such a key selling point? Because if it is, it's fine. I guess that's how it is. But I just think it's kind of depressing that that's what determines what people go and see in the cinema.
I mean, there's sort of one sort of good point about when remakes of sort of particular classic films come out is that it does sort of, I guess, bring that classic back into the people's awareness, in the sense that, for example, Ghost in the Shell was nowhere near my priority to watch. Yeah. But because the remake was about to come out and I feel I should watch the original, I ended up watching the original. So there's that sort of little... obviously it only affects a certain type of people.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. On some level, I agree. But then what you have is, you have people who now have only seen the remake, and then the other thing, of course, is you have the whole thing of it's diluted it because now there isn't. Now you can't say I love Ghost in the Shell. You have to go I love Ghost in the Shell. The 1995 original film. It's something you are diluting this, and also there's not much purpose to... I get the whole... You've been pretty... No, I'd rather that 100% of people who I say Ghost in the Shell to and understood what I was on about 100% of those people who got it were yes, I like that movie, rather than 50% got it because they went, yeah, the original, 50% went, oh, I've already seen the remake. No. Sure, it makes the original more in the public eye. Doesn't mean people will watch it. Doesn't mean anything. And I don't think remaking a film is a way to get it in the public eye. The way to get it in the public eye again would be to reference it, would be to mention it in media, on social network. To re-release it. It isn't to, I know, but I see the point. It's like people who go, oh, Zack Snyder's Watchmen might miss the entire point of Watchmen, but hey, you got people talking about Watchmen again. No, I'd rather everyone that talked about Watchmen didn't have to discuss his remake. That's what I'd rather happened. And the remake adaptation.
Yeah.
Let's call it remake because fuck Zack Snyder.
Oh, Snyder.
Yeah, what a guy. I think this was less comprehensive than I thought it would be because there really isn't much to say. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. I like some, I dislike others.
Yeah.
It's all kind of there. Da-da! But, okay, so let's just move on then.
Yeah, sure.
Right, so let's move on to this new feature, which is just... So let's recommend films, typically, just in general, that we think are great, that we haven't mentioned on the podcast yet, and we want to talk about.
Okay.
So, do you want to go first?
Yeah, why not? So, I'm going to recommend The Neon Demon, which is directed by Nicholas Winding Refn. It was released last year. It was one of my favourite films from last year. Almost became my favourite. Was almost my favourite. I love... there's a lot I love about it, but I love how it looks, the style of it, how colour is used. I think it's a really interesting film looking at beauty and vanity and that kind of stuff, and youth as well, and how sort of shallow that fashion industry can be. And there's just certain scenes which are done so well, as in there's no dialogue. Like Nicholas Winding Refn knows just how to tell a story visually, purely from visuals.
He does, and
that's what film really should be, but one of the great things that film can accomplish. And it's very messed up. There's a lot of messed up shit, and it's. I do really want to watch more again. But
it's just. I think it's just his best film. Like,
I agree.
I get it's like controversial, but
because people like Drive and all that.
I think Drive is his worst film, so I'm definitely in camp controversial.
I think. And its score is beautiful as well. Its score is so matching, especially with those scenes which have no dialogue. They are just powered by the score and visuals and the imagery. Yeah. And that's the thing. I feel his director is so focused on trying to make an experience rather than just tell a story. That's what he feels film should be about. It's about something new. Otherwise, how can you be original by telling the same type of stories again? It's like, no, I'm going to take something. You can imagine on the script, like certain scenes which just come out really, really basic. She looks like, but it's just the way he takes that bit of writing and just puts a visual thing on how... I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but
No, I know what you mean. I'd love to see Nicholas Winding Refn do a silent movie. Just visuals and music. Yeah. He really nails that whole vibe. I do think that it's a very... I don't know why it got so much hate. I mean, I get the whole argument that it's misogynistic. I don't think it is. I think it's actually even-handed.
Yeah. I mean, some people found the acting from the models really wooden and really sort of. But I feel that's the point. That's how because they are really shallow.
Almost all the arguments I've heard against the film are just that it is a shallow film, which I think one is the point, like you say. And I think it inverts its own shallowness actually. And also, I think the other thing that people say is, it's just negatively portrayal of women, which is definitely not true.
I know. I mean, because the Drive and Only God Forgives is two reasons all about men being violent. Yeah. And he's one's I want to show from that women can also be violent, and that's I suppose the problem with that is that I suppose the argument would be, well, what he's saying is I want to make a film where women are violent just because I want to make a film where women are violent, as opposed to saying I want to make a film about something. Yeah. Which I suppose, first of all, I don't think it's a film that is about women being violent. Yeah, I don't think that's what it's about. I don't think that's why he made it. No, but I don't think that's a good counter argument. Either. It's all kind of messy. But it is very interesting, I do agree. It's an interesting film. It's also so he can show his 16-year-old girl self, that.
I mean, he said that he's a 16-year-old girl.
Inside himself, yeah.
I mean, he's a very fetishistic director, isn't he, really? But, hey, that's all good with me, I like all his movies that I've seen, so, there we go. Okay, so, staying with Scandinavian directors, let's jump from Denmark to Sweden, and I'm going to throw in my pick. Wild Strawberries, Ingmar Bergman, classic movie, one of my favourites. I love this film. If you know anything about me regarding film, you know my favourite director of all time, Stanley Kubrick. My second favourite director of all time, Ingmar Bergman. Ingmar Bergman, this is not Bergman's finest film, although it's pretty close. But this is the film that I think easiest to watch for a non-Bergman fan. Right. I think Persona is his masterpiece, but I feel like just showing someone Persona is a bit of a jump. Wild Strawberries is his brilliant little film. So basic premise is, old man, he's a professor of some kind. He's going to receive an award from a university. So he has to travel from his home to the university. Instead of catching the plane or going by train, he has to drive there because he just feels like driving there. Over the drive, he picks up some hitchhikers. He travels with his daughter-in-law, and he reminisces about his life. He talks to his mother at one point, but also he basically just daydreams and flashbacks, and he sees his own life reflected through his daughter-in-law and through the young people that he meets on the way.
Right.
And essentially, by the end of the movie, he rediscovers who he is.
Okay.
Well, that's basically it. It's about a man rediscovering who he is throughout this car trip. And it's really simple. It's not complicated, but it's all very, very heavy in dense imagery and ideas. It's all about dream sequences and things that don't make sense, and people saying stuff, and it's all kind of weird. It's all about that sort of thing. What it is, it's a really emotional film. It'll make you, by the end of it, you're pretty much blubbing. It really gets you there. It's one of Bergman's richest movies. It is just people talking in a car, but that's Bergman. Bergman will just have dialogue on top of dialogue, but it's perfect. It's so good. I love Wild Strawberries. I think it's one of his finest films and one of the finest films ever made. If you want to watch European classics, this is where to start. I think once you've seen this, Bergman is your oyster. You can go wherever you like in his career. This is the one to watch to get into him, I think.
Okay, that's cool.
There we go. Okay, well...
We're finished, I guess.
This was shorter than I thought it would be. But I guess kind of covered everything that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So, what to take away from this? The Room sucks. Fantastic Four sucks.
Yeah.
Ghost in the Shell sucks.
Yeah.
Remakes suck. What do we like? Mamma Mia's good.
Scandinavian guys.
Scandinavian stuff's good. Yeah. Mamma Mia's alright, but it's not good. Yeah.
Right, so thanks for listening.
Yes.
Next week we might talk about Scorsese's got to be our topic, I think.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I haven't thought of what we're talking about yet.
Because it's the end of the BFI re-releases.
Okay, sure, I can do Scorsese.
Probably. Well, it's an idea. May or may not.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay.
Okay, thanks for listening and bye.
Okay, bye.